Hello beautiful people, it's me your local diva Anurag back with another video. How are you guys? I hope you are well and good. As you know, it's October and Halloween is just around the corner. So I thought, let me make a video on horror films. But this will not be your typical list of, top horror films of all times or something like that. This will be a list of classic horror films which have made its mark in the LGBT community. The horror genre is really popular among gay people, maybe because of its protagonists who are, mostly outsiders or dealing with some issues, or maybe just because of its flamboyant and campy nature. Now, here's a quote by film historian David Skoll who says, "The old horror films do have a certain resonance for gay people. Monster movies are about sexual repression, among other things, and homosexuality is one form of sexuality that has traditionally been repressed." So, I have compiled a list of 10 classic essential horror viewing for queer people, which were all released before the year 2000. So in no particular order, let's start. Number 1, Bride of Frankenstein. Now this was a direct sequel to 1931's Frankenstein, and this movie is often analyzed as a gay parable. The monster that is created by Frankenstein is often seen as a symbol of homosexuality, and even the character of Dr. Pretorius is seen as queer. Many people also claim that there's a certain homoeroticism between him and the character of Henry Frankenstein. This movie was critically acclaimed and it is described as one of the best sequels ever made. Next up, we have Psycho. Now, this is probably Alfred Hitchcock's most well-known work, and it was a pioneer in the slasher horror genre, although it is often accused of being transphobic because of its iconic villain, that is Norman Bates, who is portrayed as this mentally ill cross-dressing murderer. Now, what he identified as or what his gender identity or orientation was, we will never know. But Norman Bates does cross the boundaries of gender binaries, so he is often seen as a queer character. Transphobia aside, the film is a masterpiece and is well loved by both critics and audiences alike even today. The next movie on this list is a little different because it is a horror film plus a musical. Yes, I am talking about the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Campy, quirky, bizarre are like the perfect words to describe this film. The story revolves around this young couple whose car breaks down in the rain at night, and they find shelter in this castle which is occupied by pretty weird people. So yeah, this film was supposed to be like a parody plus tribute to old sci-fi films and B-grade horror films, and it has become a cult classic over time. The next movie on this list is Carrie. The film adaptation of Stephen King's novel has cemented its iconic status in pop culture and in the LGBT community as its story resonates with gay viewers. She is isolated and bullied at school, she is abused at home by her mother, and she is frightened by her own sexuality. But there is something special about her, something that she has to hide. This makes Carrie very relatable and is often seen as a metaphor for young gay experience. The next movie on this list is the erotic horror film The Hunger. Now, I won't talk much about it. All I'm gonna tell you is bisexual vampires, lesbian sex, and David Bowie. Number 6 on this list is A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. This sequel is full of queer imagery and homoerotic subtext that the screenwriter David Chaskin tried to deny for decades before finally owning up to it. The main character of Jesse Walsh is often identified as a repressed gay teen, and even the cinematic male gaze is reversed in this film in order to objectify the male character instead of the female. Overall, it's a fun, gory, entertaining horror film that is perfect for Halloween. Next up, we have Hellraiser. Hellraiser is a twisted, gory horror film that explores the all-consuming hunt for pleasure and how that desire can lead us to hell. Made by gay director Clive Barker, the film has some BDSM elements and it also has AIDS allegories. It's graphic, it's gory, it's disgusting. So if you are into that, I highly recommend this film. Moving on, we have the film Nightbreed, which is from the same director, Clive Barker. Now, this film is basically a battle between monsters and humans, but in this case, the monsters are the good guys. Now, the monsters are obviously symbols for the queer community or any other minority who are ostracized and persecuted. And even though it got a lot of negative reviews when it came out, it is still a very entertaining watch. At number 9, we have Interview with the Vampire. Based on the Anne Rice novel that pioneered the genre of vampire literature, this gothic horror film stars Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt as vampires who unintentionally become same-sex parents to a daughter. The film is filled with homoeroticism, gore, and gorgeous visuals. And it can also be interpreted as an on and off toxic gay relationship between two soulmates. Before I talk about the last film, here are a few honorable mentions. Last but not the least, we have The Craft. Often termed as a Halloween favorite, this underrated film has been embraced by the LGBT community not only because of its campy style but also because of its main characters who are mostly outcasts, rejected by their peers, but who all have something special within them which makes them unique and different. The film has become a cult classic over time and a sequel is going to be released either this year or next year, but soon. So that was my list of classic horror films pre-2000 for queer people, I guess, that you can watch during Halloween. If you have watched any of these films, tell me what you thought about it. And if I missed any of your favorites, write them down in the comment section below. I will be making another video with the same topic but with modern horror films from the year 2000 onwards, so stay tuned for that. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!